Growing up, or maybe I should say growing old, is a journey of constantly surprising yourself, and that includes your taste of music. In November 2023, the most magical thing happened to me. I stumbled upon a song called Lover. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please down with every guitar strings burn on my head? I take this melody for of a man to be my lover. One thing after another, I started listening to this little-known singer named Taylor Swift. Before I fully grasped what was going on, she became my top artist on Spotify in that year, followed by another musician named Johann Sebastian Bach, who was quite active 3 centuries ago. At some point last year, fresh out of another short-lived relationship and some unsuccessful dates, I was, as usual, feeling pretty jaded. A friend advised me, why not give dating a full stop for a solid half year? And just like that, out of curiosity about how long I can go without men, sex, or any sort of illicit sparkles, I embarked on my journey of celibacy. Ask me when was the last time I had sex.
Okay. When's the last time you had sex?
November 2nd, 2023.
So, how do you feel now?
You know, sometimes I do wonder, what if that's the last time I have sex in my life? In a city as dazzling and alluring as Hong Kong, almost any kind of lust can be easily and instantly fulfilled, with the right price or from the right app. We're so used to getting whatever we want the moment we want it without ever asking the question, what are we really getting out of it? Do we really have what it takes to master our desires? Or are we born to be the slave of it?
You want the first one?
Yes!
Please, it's the best one. Be careful. Yes. That's all? That's the first ship. Oh, it was a very important ship.
Yeah, the last time I had alcohol is December 11th last year.
Congrats.
When I started another attempt at running in January 2022, it was with a shallow wish to reduce my belly and a dubious voice at the back of my head. Let's see how long I can last this time. The truth is, I was always envious of those people that seem to genuinely enjoy something I've hated all my life. And I was dying to find out the secret that was kept from me. Almost 3 years has passed. My belly still has nowhere to go, but running, miraculously, has managed to stay. Just finished another very wet AK. To this day, after almost 300 runs and 1,500 kilometers, I can't say I have figured out any secret at all. All I know is, every run still feels like a big mountain before and a small miracle after. In some way, it is a blind fate that this never-ending tango between the mind and the body, this recurring negotiation that requires unlimited patience, is indeed taking me somewhere.
What's up? I just finished the first 10K of my life, and almost as a ritual, the past 3K is with me.
And through putting my own body in motion over and over again, no matter how foreign this still feels, I can now finally admit to myself, I am a runner, and I have no plan to stop being one.
It seems a dream that
As I turned single again late last year, the question that kept haunting me was, why do I repetitively put myself in this box that's called relationship? In today's world, singlehood is mostly declared as a choice. Nevertheless, it's still a notorious status to be in.
Single and fabulous question mark? There was no question mark implied. I would never have agreed to be in an article. Single and fabulous question mark. I was set up.
On a macro level, we are the selfish ones that are breaking the social structure apart and don't contribute anything to the propagation of our own species. On a private level, a question one might secretly mull over is,
am I really choosing to be single? Or am I only single because I have no choice?
For me, am I been there, done that kind of age? Being single is not about having the world as my oyster anymore. It's about homecoming to a sense of self, applying a surgical focus on my own bare reality. It's about being the best possible company to myself, painstakingly nurturing the tiny pleasures against a random, incomprehensible fate. It's also about being honest in my solitude and suffering. Because that's the only way I know to be truly free from it. And that's when I come to realize, maybe I've got the question wrong all this time. Maybe the choice in front of me is not singlehood or relationship. The choice in front of me is, shall I trust my direct experience, or shall I trust an adopted fairy tale? A piercing lucidity, or a numbing pretense? At this moment in my life, I can easily and honestly say I do thrive in being alone, and I have no reason to shy away from it. And no matter how much I'm enjoying it right now, for the same reason that I wouldn't want to put myself in a box called relationship again, I will also refuse to be trapped in a box called singlehood. When I was a kid, I believed I was talented in some way, as people kept telling me that. Then days and years went by. For the longest time, I carried myself as if I was only a visitor in life. And I shrugged it off when people told me I seemed to be wasting my intelligence away. Deep down, I was always paralyzed by a sense of hopelessness. Meanwhile, from my mid-20s to early 30s, I went through this tumultuous era of self-destruction, followed by the long and difficult process of trying to piece myself together from the wreckage. Those were some truly disastrous years, but maybe, just maybe, they were also a bliss in disguise. It was through this reconstruction of myself as a human being that I managed to see some flickering meaning. I find myself slowly growing out of the coldness that I used to see life with. For the first time, as an adult, I'm not escaping from my own life anymore and have started to really participate in it. A renewed faith has risen inside me. This time, it's not about any obscure talent that I may or may not have. It's a clear and strong faith in my authorship of my very own unknown trajectory.
I let them know how much I love you, 'cause you were all I built.
我双引号总是过渡时代的产物。总处在半途之中，没有必要否定过去的自己。 正是因为过去的局限、过失以及别扭，才有今天的自己。原谅过去的自己，与那个自己和解，将那个自己怀抱在我的心中就好。
Not sure when did it happen, but one day I realized I don't feel flattered anymore when people will still assume that I'm much younger than my age. I start wondering, why do we feed on this narrative that younger is always better? For centuries, women are programmed to take age as their dirtiest secret after a certain mark. And we're still, more or less, the prisoner of the stereotype that comes with that number. The truth is, I wouldn't want to walk back even one day in my life, not to mention a few years, 10 years. Instead of a false impression of 27, what would actually flatter me is that maybe, because of me, someone would shift their understanding about what a 37-year-old woman can be these days. At 37, a woman can be a wife, a mother, a divorcee, a single, a career ladder climber, a business owner, a retiree. And in the case of this particular 37-year-old woman, a prospect student in psychology.
Oh, there's another thing I haven't told you yet. Okay, pretty perfect.
When I made the decision to apply for psychology masters last year, it did feel like the most difficult part was over. When I told a friend about this, her first reaction was, "Why have you waited until now to do this?" Unfortunately, it was a question I have no answer for. All I could say is, in life, it could take one no time to make a reckless move, but when it comes to things that we actually really want to pursue, that process can be incredibly long. Just when I was bracing myself for the new study this coming semester, coincidentally, I also accepted a new job in a new industry field. In the midst of this dizzying wave of new beginnings that's coming my way, I thought of the little old me who was paralyzed by her own pessimism, and I wish I could give her a hug. I wish I could tell her that she's gifted, and her life is a gift. And in the year that she will turn 37, she still hasn't figured out much of what that is yet. But one thing she does know is, there are so many stories she has yet to tell, and there are even more stories that are only beginning to happen.